And thanks for jumping back into the cryptoverse. Today we're going to continue talking about Bitcoin as it is the main market mover and it's a good index for any cryptocurrency portfolio. We've talked recently about the price volatility and we've talked a lot about the 200-week moving average. And now we're actually at the 200-week moving average. You can see back in 2015 we were bouncing off the 200 week several times. And in 2019 we were on the 200 week, and then now we're back to the 200 week. And if you were to subscribe to the theory that the 200 week will hold as support, I'm not saying that it will, but if you were, then you could even say that we're still doing that. These wicks are mostly irrelevant, and this wick happened in a very short period of time, in the same way that you can see that there was a wick over here and a few wicks over here that went, a decent amount below the 200-week moving average. So currently, the candle is right at around that 200-week moving average or so. So there still is a possibility that we can say that the 200-week moving average is going to hold, at least if in thinking about it in terms of weekly candles. So this is more of a macro level view, obviously. I know many people would say that the 200 week has not held since we significantly went below it. But if you do think that, then you would have already thought that because we've already gone below it before. So we will obviously continue to follow what the price of Bitcoin is doing. I would not expect us to, as I've said, I really think 2019 and 2020 are going to be good accumulation years, and not to expect too much from these years other than the idea of just accumulating as much Bitcoin as you possibly can in preparation for a longer cycle this time around. So in one sense, it's an opportunity if you can stay in it for the long game. If you're more just in it to see short-term gains, then it's going to be a lot harder unless you're being really risky with your investment and doing something, some other types of leverage trading or something, which I definitely am not recommending anyone go do. So one of the things that we've also talked about here is the 300-week moving average. So if we were to drop down to the 300-week moving average, I just want people to have an idea of what that would look like, because not everyone can easily access these charts on TradingView. So the 200-week moving average is at around 5,500, and then the 300-week moving average is around 3,800 or so. So these are obviously big price points. These are big milestones. So look out for that. And in the past we said, if we drop below the 200 week, then the 300 week would be the next target. And it looks like it more or less was. The price did come down to this level. Even if this wick doesn't fully capture it, it was just only there for a few seconds. So, if we break the 200-week moving average, I would be looking out for the 300-week more than anything else for me. And for me, I also usually have buys set up at the 200-week and the 300-week just as a precautionary measure. And the 200-week buy was set up for a really long period of time, and I honestly didn't know if it was ever going to get filled. But it looks like it has. So it got filled, the 200 week, and then even the 300 week got filled. Now, if you're wondering exactly what price point, like if you're doing this, say, manually or whatever, and you're wondering what price point, remember that the 300 week is at $3,800. But a lot of times, the price might not get entirely down to that level. So a lot of people, when they put in buy orders, they might say choose like $3,000 or $4,000 or $5,000. But remember that there's a lot of people are thinking like that. A lot of people are thinking in round numbers. So if you want to increase your odds of getting an order filled, just pick a number slightly higher than what the target would be. So if the target is, let's say the target is 37.72, then you could place it a slightly higher than that if you're looking to get an order around the 300-week moving average. So I think that should be informative for some people. And clearly the 20-week has like we had said, if we fall below the 20-week, it typically in the short term is not good for cryptocurrency. It doesn't usually just fall below the 20-week and then immediately recover. It can take some time. And the last time we fell below the 20-week, it took it took 119 days or 17 weeks before we got back above it. And one of the nice things about this drop is that the next time we test the 20-week, we'll hopefully be at a level that has a lot more buying pressure. Maybe the next time we test the 20-week will be at a price that's 5,000 or 6,000 or something, which would certainly have a higher risk of holding than we had at 10,000 or 8,000. So take that into consideration. Now, subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed. Check out the Telegram channel if you're not subscribed to that, and you can find that in the description below. If you're artistic, we made this announcement in the Telegram channel a few days ago. So I do offer premium content that has a lot of extra information, but obviously not everyone can afford that, or they don't want to put their money into that. We are having a competition right now because I need a logo for my for Into the Cryptoverse. So if you think you can design a cool logo for Into the Cryptoverse, we're having a contest, and the winner will get a year's subscription to my Patreon channel, or to the private Telegram group. So if you want to find out more information about that, then go to the Telegram group and look into the pinned message. If you consider yourself a graphic designer, then please come up with some different ideas. You can submit as many logos as you want. I'm not looking for anything extravagant. I just want something that looks, sleek and, potentially modern, and is going to be something I can easily put on reports, and it's not going to take up a ton of room. And I don't want anything that's, overly flashy, or anything that has logos of a lot of different cryptocurrency projects, because I don't want to break any copyright or anything like that. But if you do think you can come up with something cool and unique, then feel free to join the contest. We already have about 5 entries, and that will be closing at the end of March. So please submit your designs in the next couple weeks, and we will pick a winner sometime in April. And then the last thing, a lot of people ask me, okay, well, can we see some of these charts live, like the primary logarithmic regression band? And you can, and we've talked about this before. I have intothecryptoverse.com, but we also have Into the Crypto Charts. So if you go to Into the Crypto Charts, you can see the regression band right here, and this is updated. This is updated every day. So if you guys if you want to know where we are and follow along, then you can easily use this right here. So you can see that currently we've come down to the bottom of this regression band, similarly to how we did last time. So clearly we got to the bottom quicker than we did this time, but again, lengthening cycles, it's going to take longer. What I would anticipate, not that I'm not clairvoyant or anything, I don't really know what's going to happen, but if we are able to maintain this price where we're above like the 200-week moving average, then maybe we'll cycle, then maybe we'll be at the bottom of this band for the foreseeable future, maybe popping up above it sometimes, but for the most part staying in the bottom half of it. And if we were to stay in the bottom half of it and eventually get to our previous all-time high, then it would take us, at least probably another 2 years to get there. If we don't take that, if we say go to the top half of it, then obviously it would not take us nearly as long. It's just more or less where we stand in terms of the price with respect to this regression band. And I wouldn't necessarily be surprised if we dipped below the band. It's not entirely out of the question. It's not like these lines are anything more than imaginary lines fit to prior historical prices. In fact, over here you can see we were below it initially, and we almost came below it right here. And we're almost about to go below it again, but maybe we'll hold. I'm not saying we will, but it's possible. it's kind of interesting because while I did not fit this lower band to the 200-week moving average, it often does seem to, hold some level of support around the 200-week moving average at that lower, at either the middle band or the lower band. So over here it was the middle band where we held support. Here it's the lower band, and same thing in this region back in 2015. So if you want to see live updated charts on the primary regression band, just go to intothecryptocharts.com and you can follow along. If here's some more stuff. This is also updated. These are several logarithmic regression lines, and you can kind of just visualize where we are each cycle and how we're dropping down from the peaks and how we're also dropping down at each bottom. So just something to consider. And unfortunately, this one right here is not updated live, and I'll try to work on fixing that. These other two are, and the one on the bottom, this is also updated live. This is just number of tokens traded that day, and I shouldn't really say tokens, it should say coins, Bitcoin traded versus price. I was trying to make it more generic, but you can kind of follow along in terms of seeing the macro level trends here. Kind of moves up this way, comes like way up, and then comes back, and then hopefully it'll go way back up again to 100,000 or so. So this is more or less just a quick update. Follow along on the 200-week moving average. The candle actually has not really broken it yet, just the wick has. So we at least are maintaining that market structure as of this point. That could change. Obviously, the coronavirus, COVID-19, is spreading fairly rapidly, and a lot of people are getting laid off, and the economy is really struggling right now. So again, this is a risky asset class, and as long as you're investing responsibly and looking out several years into the future, because we are under the impression that the cycles are lengthening, then 2019 and 2020 should just present themselves as opportunities rather than something that you're going to pull your hair out over what the price is doing. So, the risk level is a lot lower, and if your goal is to accumulate as much Bitcoin as you can, where the risk is lower than, say, 0.3, then the risk being 0.25, it's in the lower 1/4 essentially of the risk level. It might go lower, it might not, but we know that right now the risk is fairly low. Not that it can't go lower, but if you look at the macro level picture, we don't spend a ton of time at risks below 0.3, or I should say below 0.2. Below 0.2, we really don't spend that much time. Below 0.3, it's a little bit more time, but we spend a lot of time, between 0.4, 0.5, 0.6. Right now, the risk is 0.25. So if you're looking for, these macro level shifts within the risk indicator, and want to identify times that are less risky, then certainly now carries a lot less risk than it did just 3 weeks ago when the price was $2,500 higher than what it is today. So try to keep a level head. Don't get too emotionally involved. If you want to check out the private Telegram group where I post a lot more stuff, check out the Patreon in the description below. And if you want to join the logo contest where you can potentially win a free year in that channel, then submit your designs. You need to join the Telegram group so you can see the competition and then submit your designs. And when you submit your design, just add the hashtag logo to the Telegram group so that by the end of March I can just go through and find all the submissions. And also tag me as well if you want me to see it immediately. Otherwise, I'll probably just see it at the end of March. So, all right, guys, that'll wrap it up for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I will talk to you next time. And remember, please subscribe. Bye. We'll start to see us, go within this channel for the next 1 to 2 years.